Let us return together to the fields of America, where 5 small but resilient tractors helped write the history of agriculture. This is a journey through memories, the scent of freshly turned soil, the familiar sound of engines, and the endless love for the homeland's land. Oliver 550. Launched in 1958, in the context of America having stepped deep into the era of agricultural mechanization. That decade, the rural Midwest was filled with hope. Small farms were still common, but the competitive pressure from large-scale farms was increasingly evident. Farmers needed machines that were flexible, durable, and powerful enough to handle daily tasks without being overly expensive. Oliver Farm Equipment Company, headquartered in Charles City, Iowa, listened to its farmers and introduced the 550 line. The initial price was around $3,000, not a small figure but reasonable for families relying on pulling power every day. During its production run, tens of thousands rolled out of the factory, and to this day, surviving units are valued between $4,000 and $8,000, depending on condition. In the Midwest and Northeast, the 550 quickly became an icon, a compact but strong machine, easy to use, easy to repair, and reliable. In terms of specifications, the Oliver 550 was equipped with a 4-cylinder engine, 144 cubic inches in displacement. Power output was about 35 PTO horsepower, 31 drawbar horsepower, and 40 engine horsepower. The standard gearbox was 4-speed, with an optional 6-speed, allowing flexibility in pasture or dirt road conditions. Maximum engine speed was about 2,000 RPM. The fuel tank held 13 gallons, enough for a long day's work without too many stops. Pulling capacity reached over 3,500 pounds, sufficient for plowing, towing wagons, or operating auxiliary machinery. Weight was about 3,500 pounds, with a length of more than 120 inches. A suitable size for a small farm, not too bulky. Any inaccuracies, if still debated, are clearly noted in collector references. The 550 was the perfect balance, powerful but not oversized, simple yet modern for its time. A comfortable seat, clear visibility, and an improved hydraulic system helped farmers change implements quickly. For a small farm, the 550 was a diligent companion, from plowing furrows, planting corn, harrowing, to hauling hay. But the numbers tell only half the story. The rest is feeling. The roar of the 4-cylinder engine in the morning mist, slow but steady. The front wheels rolling across soil still wet after the first seasonal rain, mud clinging thick before drying under the sun. A child sitting on the fence, hearing the sound echo across the field, knowing their father was working. The scent of freshly cut grass mixed with diesel fumes, etched deep into the memory of an entire generation. Today, when buying back an Oliver 550, farmers or collectors see it objectively: affordable price, parts still available, proven durability. Its simple structure means few breakdowns, easy repairs with tools from the garage. However, when buying a used machine, careful inspection is needed. Does the PTO run smoothly? Does the hydraulic system leak? Does the gearbox shift cleanly? The engine should fire evenly, with no abnormal thick smoke, no oil leaks around the head. The frame, wheels, and steering must also be solid. Common advice: buy from reputable sellers or collector groups, where a passionate community is ready to help. The Oliver 550 is still alive. Many units still work on small pastures, others are restored and displayed at agricultural fairs. In the eyes of collectors, it is a bridge between the era of heavy manual labor and the modernization of farming. It embodies the spirit of rural America, humble, enduring, and devoted. We remember that the Oliver 550 was not just a tractor. It was the heartbeat of many harvests, the familiar sound by the wooden porch, the irreplaceable memory of a generation of American farmers. But before the Oliver 550 appeared, many families relied on a small, diligent machine that stayed with them through the war years. That was the case VAC. Case VAC. Launched in 1942, right in the midst of World War II. As American young men went to the battlefield, women and children stayed on the farms, shouldering the seasonal work. Agriculture needed a compact tractor, fuel-efficient, yet strong enough to handle heavy tasks. J.I. Case Company, headquartered in Racine, Wisconsin, responded with the VAC line. The initial price was only about $900, an affordable choice for many families. Over 2 decades, more than 60,000 units were produced. Today, a working unit can be purchased for around $1,500 to $3,500. The VAC was widespread across the Midwest and the Plains, where family farms relied on it like a loyal companion. In terms of specifications, the VAC used a 4-cylinder engine, 124 cubic inches in displacement. Power output was about 21 PTO horsepower and 18 drawbar horsepower, enough to pull plows, harrows, and operate small implements. The 4-speed gearbox allowed flexible operation on fields or dirt roads. Maximum engine speed was 1,500 RPM, with a 10-gallon fuel tank. Pulling capacity was nearly 2,800 pounds, sufficient for small farm needs. Weight was about 2,600 pounds, compact and easy to move. The outstanding feature of the VAC lay in its simplicity. Small design, easy to repair, parts available. A reliable engine with few breakdowns. Farmers often chose the VAC because it could run for long periods without complex maintenance. The VAC was tied to long working days. The steady, unhurried engine sound echoed among cornfields tall as shoulders. The tall, thin wheels rolled over soft soil, leaving deep tracks like long stitches across the field. A child sat on the truck bed, hearing the VAC from afar, knowing that planting season had begun. The light exhaust smoke mixed with the country breeze, becoming a familiar sign of a working day. Today, its appeal lies in the low price, easy-to-find parts, and durability proven over decades. But some cautions remain: the PTO and hydraulics can be weak, the gearbox may be worn. Check the engine for blue smoke or oil leaks. The frame must be solid, the wheels free of cracks. The legacy of the Case VAC was not in power, but in its ability to accompany small farms through hard times. It represented an era when every family member, young and old, relied on that little machine to finish the harvest. We remember that the VAC was not just a machine. It was the steady breath across the fields, the symbol of endurance as America moved from wartime into peace. Leaving behind the wide fields where the Case VAC faithfully kept time, we step into small gardens, where a unique machine brought a fresh perspective. That was the Allis-Chalmers Model G. Allis-Chalmers Model G. In 1948, as America entered the optimistic post-war era, Allis-Chalmers introduced an unusual machine, the Model G. This was not the familiar large tractor. It was designed specifically for small farms, green vegetable rows, orchards, and small cotton fields. The Allis-Chalmers headquarters was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but this Model G was produced at the factory in Gadsden, Alabama. The initial price was only about $1,000, suitable for vegetable and crop farmers. More than 29,000 units were produced in about 10 years. Today, a working Model G costs between $2,500 and $5,000, and is still favored by organic farmers who appreciate its compactness. The specifications of the Model G reflected the spirit of small but skillful. A 4-cylinder Continental engine, 62 cubic inches in displacement. Modest power, about 10 PTO horsepower, 9 drawbar horsepower, and 10 engine horsepower. A 3-speed forward, 1-speed reverse gearbox, sufficient for gardening needs. Maximum engine speed of 1,800 RPM. The fuel tank held 5 gallons, small but suitable for light work. Pulling capacity was less than 1,000 pounds. Total weight about 1,400 pounds, length 108 inches. The Model G was so light that farmers could maneuver it in tight spaces without much effort. The main highlight was its reverse design. The seat and engine were placed at the back, leaving the front for implements. The driver could look directly down at the rows of crops, watching each vegetable row while cultivating or planting. This was a major difference compared to most tractors of the time. For vegetable farms, the Model G was a precision tool, saving effort and improving productivity. The Model G was often tied to wide gardens, where tomatoes, cucumbers, and cabbages grew in straight rows. The small, light engine sound blended with morning birdsong. The wheels rolled across soft soil, leaving only thin tracks, not heavy marks. The farmer leaned forward, watching each row of crops, hands gently on the steering wheel as if guiding the way. The scent of damp soil and fresh vegetables mingled, creating a simple yet vibrant picture. Today, when buying a used Model G, many find appeal in its simplicity. Reasonable price, parts can still be fabricated thanks to the collector community. The small engine means few breakdowns, easy maintenance. But cautions remain: old gearboxes may be loose, PTO weak, electrical systems need careful inspection. Check the frame to ensure there are no cracks. Wheels and steering must be solid. The Model G was not about power, but about vision. It brought farmers closer to each row, each bed of vegetables. In today's context, many small organic farms still turn to the Model G as an ideal choice, both practical and rich in history. It recalls the era when American farmers worked diligently, patiently, step by step, feeding their families from small plots of land. The Allis-Chalmers Model G was like a diligent friend in the garden. Gentle, devoted, and leaving a peaceful mark on each row of soil. And then, when family farms wanted a companion both charming and durable, the name Farmall Cub echoed across rural America. Farmall Cub. In 1947, as America had just emerged from the war years and stepped into the new consumer era, small family farms, which made up the majority of rural America, needed a compact tractor, easy to operate, and not too expensive. International Harvester, headquartered in Chicago, Illinois, launched the Farmall Cub as a perfect solution. The initial price was about $545, a figure that allowed many farmers to reach their dream of mechanization. Throughout production from 1947 to the early 1980s, more than 200,000 Cubs rolled off the line. Today, a working Cub can be found for around $2,000 to $4,000, and it remains a popular choice in the collector community. The specifications of the Cub reflected the essence of small but useful. A 4-cylinder engine, 59.5 cubic inches in displacement. Power output of about 9.25 drawbar horsepower, 10.5 PTO horsepower, and nearly 11 engine horsepower. A 3-speed forward, 1-speed reverse gearbox. Maximum engine speed around 1,600 RPM. A 7.4-gallon fuel tank. Pulling capacity of about 1,500 pounds. Weight around 1,400 pounds, length nearly 100 inches. All packed into a machine that any farmer could operate easily. The highlight of the Farmall Cub was its friendliness. Compact design, maneuverable in tight fields and family gardens. A comfortable seat, easy-to-turn steering wheel, wide visibility. With moderate power, the Cub never felt overwhelming to the driver. It was used for plowing, harrowing, planting, and even hauling wood or light wagons. But the true value of the Cub lay in memory. The small, steady engine sound in spring mornings. The wheels rolled slowly across loose soil, leaving thin tracks like pencil lines. A child sat on the fence rail, watching father or mother drive the Cub, smiling as neat rows of vegetables were planted. The smell of freshly plowed earth, young grass, and early summer wind blended into a simple yet lasting picture. Today, when buying a used Cub, many see both practical and sentimental value. Affordable price, easily available parts, and a simple design that makes repairs easy. However, when purchasing, cautions apply. The PTO must run smoothly, the gearbox free of noise, the engine free of heavy black smoke. The frame must be solid, not rusted. Steering and wheels must be stable. Buy from a trusted seller or collector groups to receive support. The Farmall Cub remains vivid. Many are still working on small farms or restored for display at fairs. It was not just a tractor, but a symbol of ingenuity and closeness. With more than 2 generations of farmers growing up with the sound of the Cub engine, it has become part of the collective memory of rural America. The Farmall Cub was a symbol of simplicity. Small but persistent, it left a warm mark on every garden, every season, and in the hearts of countless American farm families. Before closing the journey, we cannot forget the familiar green and yellow, the symbol of power and versatility. John Deere Model M awaits us at the end of the road. John Deere Model M. Launched in 1947, when America was going through the post-war Reconstruction period. Farmers returned to the fields, seeking modern, powerful tractors that were still compact enough to fit family farms. John Deere, headquartered in Moline, Illinois, introduced the Model M as a major step forward in its lineup. The initial price was about $1,000. In 4 years of production, more than 20,000 units rolled off the line. Today, a working Model M can be purchased for around $2,500 to $5,000, particularly popular in the Midwest and the southeastern United States. The specifications of the Model M showed it was a mid-sized machine, neither too big nor too small. A 2-cylinder engine, 100.5 cubic inches in displacement. Power output of about 18 drawbar horsepower, 20 PTO horsepower, and nearly 22 engine horsepower. A 4-speed forward, 1-speed reverse gearbox. Maximum engine speed of 1,650 RPM. A 10-gallon fuel tank. Pulling capacity around 2,900 pounds. Weight nearly 2,600 pounds, length 115 inches. Compact, sturdy, and suitable for many types of farm work. The highlight of the Model M was its versatility. It featured the touch-o-matic hydraulic system, allowing quick raising and lowering of implements. For family farmers, this was a major advance, saving effort and time. A comfortable seat, good visibility, and the 2-cylinder engine with its distinctive sound, a warm putt-putt rhythm, unlike any other tractor. The Model M was tied to autumn mornings, when yellow leaves fell over harvested cornfields. The steady engine echoed, the wheels leaving damp tracks across brown soil. A child sat on the fence, reaching out to catch falling leaves, while his father drove the Model M through each furrow. The smell of gasoline mixed with oil blended with the chilly wind, evoking an unforgettable sense of peace. Today, when buying a used Model M, people recognize its value in durability. Parts can still be found thanks to collector networks. The simple engine is easy to repair. However, attention must be paid to the PTO, hydraulics, and gearbox. Carefully inspect the engine, exhaust smoke, and signs of oil leakage. The frame must be solid, wheels free of cracks. Steering must be firm. Familiar advice: buy from trusted sellers, or from John Deere groups, where the passionate community is always ready to share experience. The Model M still echoes in agricultural fairs, where restored units shine with green and yellow paint. It marked an important stage in the mechanization of American agriculture, when small farms began stepping into a more modern era while preserving their traditional identity. We have gone through a journey, from the simple Case VSE, the compact Allis-Chalmers Model G, the friendly Farmall Cub, the durable Oliver 550, to the versatile John Deere Model M. Each tractor is a fragment of memory, a piece of history, and a companion of American farmers. If you have ever sat behind the wheel, hearing the putt-putt engine across the fields, share that memory in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue with us on the journey of rediscovering these familiar machines of the homeland. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next stories.